Good afternoon, ladies, gents and Pikachus. Another video about the Quran of the Muslims. Before we get to tonight's episode, one of the verses in this morning's episode describes a being called the False One. Now, bearing in mind what Allah has told us in his own words in his previous writings, he told us that he is God and there isn't anyone else who has that kind of power. It's only him. He's the only one who makes moon follow sun, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. He also said before that he creates all life and destroys all life. Nobody can create or destroy life past Allah. And he also said, I shall have no rivals. I shall set up not my rivals. I shall crush them, destroy them. They shall be diseased and cursed and have no power. Now, if that is true, who is this false one, Allah? Because you say here in your own words, Christians and Jews think they're going to go to hell, and then after 3 days they're going to be raised out of hell by this guy, the false one. You also say in a later verse, which we'll get to in tonight's episode, that the false one cannot do this. The false one cannot raise himself from the dead. The false one cannot offer human salvation. So I ask you, Allah, if what you previously said is true, why have you let this false guy live? Why can't you send your Muslims to kill this false one? Why can't you yourself crush this false one and take his power back from him, if indeed, like you promised and said, you created the false one and you can just destroy him? If he is under your power and control and below you, Allah, why in verse 24 do you say, but they are of the false ones and he is a forgery of my faith, when we know from carbon dating that this is the forgery of the false one's faith, which I think this is describing Jesus Christ as the false one. Allah thinks Jesus Christ should be considered to be the false one and that he is the real one. So we're going to cover this in a bit more detail in tonight's episode, but I just want you to really think that through, just in pure logical terms, you know, because that's what Allah claims, that everything he does and says is great and good, and he creates and destroys everything. Ooh, he mind controls everyone, and he can crush anyone who is his rival. So if that's all true, how did the false one come about in the first place, Allah? Why did you create this false one who has equal power to you, if not more, who you cannot get rid of yourself, neither can you get rid of by throwing your angry Muslims at, and who in your own words, in accordance with Christians and Jews, can raise people from the dead and save them from hell? Your hell that you're going to put on them, your evil fire, this false guy, this false one, he can stop that happening to people and actually pull them out of it and save them. It's a good question. We're going to answer it tonight at 4:15 in Without Lies, Islam Dies. So I'll see you then. That's the end of this video. In the meantime, I want you to have a real think about that and maybe read the Gospels about Christ's experience in the desert facing Satan and what he says to him there. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. And if you read Matthew book 4 verses 1 to 11, you can read all about how Satan tries to tempt Christ in the desert, tells him if he's hungry he should just make rocks into food, and Christ sends him packing with his tail between his legs. So that's all for now. God bless, and I'll see you in tonight's episode at 4:15. Until then, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.